Thank you for joining us today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Can you believe we're only a few days out from Decision Day? Please subscribe so that you can be part of the congregation. And if you want to be part of the conversation, then comment in the comment section below. We will be reviewing Steve and Noi, Season 14, Episode 16. So let's get right into it.
Welcome to Fueled by Intentions, where we talk about faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. Sponsored by Bynum's Business Solutions, where the right fit is made simple. We specialize in tips, tools, and strategies designed to help you achieve your financial health so that you can take control of how you spend your money so that you can spend more time with your family, friends, and doing the things you love. So let's jump right into the video.
Hello, John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, ready for another episode of Married at First Sight.
So this was episode 16. Are you in or are you out? And we're talking about Noi and Steve. So we see Noi talking to her friend, and it was interesting that her friend discussed the cleaning situation between Noi and Steve, and said that Noi comes from a communal family. So she was surprised that Steve was complaining about her not doing her share around the house, which I thought was odd because when we saw that interaction between the two of them, Noi admitted that she did not want to clean and did not see why he was asking her to clean. So I wasn't really sure of what the friends' dynamic was there. But I do agree with one thing that Noi said, is that she does appreciate him more for the things that she sees him doing, and that he may not recognize what she's doing because she doesn't announce it, which I can totally relate. I mean, when you do something around the house, you don't just go screaming, announcing, hey, I did this, I cleaned the bathroom, I cleaned the kitchen, I washed the dishes. I think that sometimes your partner just notices what you do without you mentioning it. But I don't know if you really get credit, because I manage employees and I tell them all the time, like, if you're doing what I'm asking you to do and you're not really doing it as well as I want you to, and you're doing 50 other things that I don't know about those things. So I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, this is a great employee, because I don't know that you're doing 50 things that you think you need to do, because I'm focused on what I'm asking you to do, to get what I need for you to get done. So maybe that's what's going on in Steve and Noi's relationship.
Yes, Noi's still talking to her friend about the same complaint that she had with Steve earlier. They're talking about the housework and the job situation. Noi is saying the reason why Steve is the one that should be doing the most work around the house is because he doesn't have a job. I'm the one busting my butt all the time. I'm the one out working. So the least he could do is keep the house clean. So it's that job situation. And she said, because of that job situation, that, decision day, I mean, I'm up in the air of what decision I'm going to make on decision day.
One thing that I think you've mentioned in the past that Noi indicated is that she doesn't think that Steve has a job because he cannot concentrate on more than one thing at one time. And so her thing is that he's concentrating on his marriage, and then once they are settled, then he'll go out and concentrate on how he's going to provide for the family. So from her perspective, she thinks because he cannot multitask.
Well, apparently she doesn't think that he can plan either, because what she wants him to do is give me a plan, show me a plan. So I can see that, these three children that I want to pop out in the next few years will be provided for. So give me more than I can get a good job or I can make a lot of money without showing me a map of how you're going to actually make this money and be a good provider for me and our children.
Well, I think in this episode, we saw Steve on his grind again, because I believe that Steve is a little entrepreneur. We know that he started off when he was a little young lad making CDs in his garage with his friend. He is an entrepreneur. And in this episode, I really saw him say you need to work smarter, not harder. Because I believe he got paid for the shout out that he did to JamesAllen.com and where he bought that ring. I think he didn't buy the ring. I think he was given the ring as part of his advertising fee because they sat there, they showed the whole website. He shouted out the name. Now we know sometimes when they talk about different places, especially things that are not sponsored, if they go to eat somewhere or they go to the nail shop and they flash across the name, we know that either that person is getting free promo or they're getting free services when they go inside. And in this one, they allowed him to demo the entire website where they got a close-up of how you order a ring at JamesAllen.com. This video is not sponsored, but James Allen, if you want to sponsor me, we are up for the challenge. So I think he got the ring for free. He may have gotten another little payment on the side, but they showed specifically, and they made it very detailed of how you get the engraving. It was too much detail on that demonstration. I believe that he got the ring for free and got a payment, or just the ring for free. But I think that was another sign of Steve working smarter and not harder.
And kudos to Steve, showing, when he presents the ring to Noi, I think that she won't care that he didn't have to pay for it out of his pocket. I think she'll be so pleased with the gift that she's being presented, and to say, hey, when she asked him and finds out how he was able to accomplish it, she'll find out that, hey, I have a real go-getter. There's probably a lot more things that we can get, when he uses his ingenuity and his entrepreneurship skills. So I think that will be a good impression to Noi on what he's capable of doing.
Yes. The next thing we see is them at the group date playing flag football. They really didn't say much. They were helpful when Mark got hurt. But what I noticed is when everybody at the end was telling about what they thought about decision day, her thing was, Noi's thing was, that she thinks that decision day is going to be a big decision. And basically she's keeping her opinion to herself. And I do not like when there is one person in the bunch who doesn't want to share, because I think that stifles everyone else. Why should I share and share my life with you if you're not going to share? And I think Steve just tried to cover it up when he said, well, there's one thing that I did not know I needed to find out about my wife, and that's if she could play flag football. I think he was just trying to make light of the situation so that they could just gloss over. But I think that Noi does that many times. When the group is having a discussion, she does not want to share how she feels or what's going on. And I guess we can attribute that to her just not having the ability to share. And I'm going to try to give her a little empathy, just because last week she shared her story about her upbringing. So it may be a very difficult thing for her to share.
Well, like you said, that could be true. Okay, maybe publicly she can't share, but she can share with her husband privately. But then we go back to the internet. Okay, when she's making those posts, it may seem like it's private, but it goes out to the public. And that's one thing that Steve says, you don't have any problem sharing then. So I would want you to be more proactive and more interactive with our friends. Now that we're on a couples having a couples conversation on something that could help all of us as a group. And so I think he would like her to be a better participant.
Yes. We then see them at their dinner date, their last date night. And again, they're discussing Noi not wanting to move in. They're discussing how he makes his money. And what was so interesting is they talked about him being a sales engineer. He talked about how hard he worked to get that job and how he had that job for 4 years. And that shows 4 years is not a career, Steve. I'm sorry. I think the world of you. I think that she should go with you. I think that you can make it as an entrepreneur. But that did not help your case to say that you're working on a job before. That is not a career. That is not a long time. I mean, you're 38 years old. And if that is the longest job that you've had for 4 years, I think you might want to try that entrepreneurial space, because that would mean to me that maybe an employee is not your strong suit. But he said it like it was a badge of honor that 4 years was like a career.
Well, knowing Steve, 4 years working for someone else, to him, that's like a lifetime. He wants to be his own man. He wants to call his own shots. And he doesn't want to have to share the money with his employer. If he makes it, he wants, 100% of the profit. So I think that that's his makeup. That's how he's wired. And unfortunately, I guess I could say unfortunately, that's not Noi's makeup. And she went the traditional route. He went the unconventional route. Okay, but hey, they're both getting it done. And like I always say, in a marriage, usually you have a prospector and you have a steady Eddie. And Noi can be the steady Eddie. She can make sure that the monthly, the money's coming in each month. Okay, while Steve continues his assignment prospecting. But I tell you what, usually it's the prospector that hits the gold, and after the prospector hits the claim and everything, then the steady Eddie, hey, they can live off the land then. So hey, I think it takes two. So
I think that Steve is a master communicator, and I think he again showed it in this conversation, because Noi asked him, how did he feel about her not moving in? And we know that Steve does not like that idea.
No.
He always can see both ends of the spectrum. So he never tries to bring it home to his point. He just said, I don't know. And then when she said, well, I don't know if we'll lose our emotional connection. And he said, there may be some benefits to it. So I really like that he always allows her to go ahead and express her whole idea and doesn't just shoot her down, and is able to see it from both sides, that he doesn't know if it'll be a good idea or not, doesn't know how it's going to work out, but that he sounded like he was open to it. So I think that is really the mark of a true leader, when you don't always have to have your way and you're willing to consider the other person when you guys are making that decision jointly. And I think it's going to help her either not move in an apartment by herself, or to only stay there a very short time, because I feel like he keeps giving her these securities that as a woman she can hold on to, that's going to eventually reel her in, maybe not after 8 weeks, but I don't think it'll be a long time before she is secure living in the same home with him.
I think he just wants to give her time to see that he is a good provider. Okay, he's not a traditional provider, but he is a good provider. So she sees that, and he understands that her apartment is her security blanket. So I think he's given her an opportunity to feel safe, as he shows her that that he is a good provider. And I think once that happens, that she will want to move in and give up her apartment and raise their family together as one in the apartment or home of their choosing. Noi asked Steve a question. When did he know he would be ready for marriage? And Steve said, family has always made him ready for marriage. He interacts well with his family. They do a lot of fun things together and stuff like that. And because of that, he was always ready for marriage.
Yes, one thing that I thought we were going to see on this season that we haven't seen is at the beginning, they talked about how Steve is Funkle Steve. And I really thought that they were going to do a scene or two showing us how he could be the fun uncle, Funkle Steve. And I really missed that we didn't see that interaction with his nieces and nephews.
Well, we already know that he was a great dancer. So we already knew he was voted, class dancer. And we already know about the video, and he was doing the rapping on the video. So we already know that Steve is a lot of fun. And because Steve is a happy and go lucky, free spirit guy, that's the way he lives his life. I can see him as being that fun uncle.
Yes, we did see them on their last night together. And they are reminiscing about things that they would change in their relationship. And Steve first jokes that he would change by getting a job. And Noi says, no, what would you really change? And then he says he would just eat the pasta and just not make a big deal about it. And it's really nice to see that Noi can laugh about that as well. So that she even admitted, I can laugh about it now, but it was very serious. And I think you have to get to that point in your relationship when there's just some hard things you got to face. And then later on, you can actually laugh about it together. So I really enjoyed seeing that moment. I did think that when Steve asked Noi when Noi asked Steve, what did he want her to change? And he said, to be more communicative is basically what he was saying. Yes. And then she turned that around to say, well, he wants 50-50 of everything. I didn't get that, but I think Noi is one of those people who cannot take criticism. So no matter if you say she needs to change anything, she's gonna see that as a negative. I think he's saying what he always has been saying. He wants her to be able to communicate with him. And I don't think that means that he wants everything 50-50. So I was really disappointed that she interpreted it in that way.
And I think that that's going to be a problem with them in the future. And I'll tell you why. Because they really haven't had to interact a lot with family, so outside people. So now, after they are, after decision day, if they choose to stay together, now they're going to be around their family. And some family members are going to judge Noi on what they saw, on the show. So definitely they're going to judge her on that. And Steve is going to receive feedback from what the family members have seen, and Noi is going to receive feedback from her family and friends of how they view Steve as well. So the question is, how are they going to weather that storm? That's what I'm going to find interesting. That's what I'll find interesting. But will this couple make it? We'll see.
Well, Steve said that Sushi has a different decision day than him and Noi. So they get to determine later who gets Sushi. But I think Noi took Sushi with her so that, if there's a custody, at least she got Sushi in her care. If there's a custody battle, at least she has Sushi in her care.
I would have taken Sushi and locked the door.
Well, at least Steve gets to sleep alone tonight, and Sushi doesn't have to be at the foot of the bed. So that might be a good thing.
Amen.
The fuel we can use for this couple is the scripture that talks about faith is the substance of things hoped for, but the evidence of things unseen. Because in Christ, we have faith, even though we can't tangibly put our hands on Christ and touch him. We still have faith because of the evidence. It's evidence of things not seen. And that is what Noi has to do with Steve. She has to trust in him and who she has seen of him and what she's heard of him, even though she doesn't have that tangible evidence that he can actually provide for her. But I think that he will come out a shining glory if she just puts her faith in Steve, even though she doesn't have the evidence of the things that she hopes for. But we more certainly needs to put our hope and faith in Christ. And we know that Christ is a sure thing. What is your yes on decision day prediction for this couple?
I'm going to say yes for Steve, and I'm going to say no for Noi.
Wow. Well, I'm going to say yes for Steve, and I'm going to say yes for Noi. I can't believe that ends our couples review. If you missed any of the couples Mark and Lindsey, Olajuwon and Katina, and Jasmina and Michael. Please see our other videos for episode 16. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.